A $400,000 house sounds normal now. Not luxury, not a mansion, just average. You hear it everywhere. Prices will come down, rates will drop, just wait another year. But here's the uncomfortable question most people avoid. Who can actually afford a $400,000 house in 2026? Not who qualifies on paper, not who stretches their budget, but who can buy one and still sleep at night. Today, we're going to break this down calmly, with real numbers, realistic situations, and one fictional family that represents millions of people. No hype, no fear, just math, behavior, and reality. Let's set the scene. It's mid-2026. Mortgage rates are no longer emergency low, but they've eased a bit from peaks. They sit around 6.1% for a standard 30-year fixed loan, aligning with current averages and forecasts.
Home prices didn't crash. They also didn't explode. They just stayed expensive, with modest national growth of 1 to 2% this year. In many mid-sized cities, a basic 3-bedroom home costs around $400,000. Not downtown, not luxury finishes, just functional space in a decent school district. At the same time, wages did rise, but not evenly, and not as fast as housing costs over the past few years. So affordability didn't disappear, it narrowed. And that's the key word for 2026, narrow. Let's meet Daniel and Priya. They're both 34 years old. They live in a fictional city called Riverton, population 600,000. Daniel works as a systems analyst. Priya works in healthcare administration. Together, they earn $145,000 a year before tax. That sounds solid. Above average, comfortable. But let's slow down and run the numbers. This price, $400,000. Down payment, 20%, or $80,000. That leaves a mortgage of $320,000. At 6.1% for 30 years, the principal and interest payment is about $1,940 per month. Now add the boring but unavoidable stuff. Property taxes, $420 per month. Home insurance, $130 per month. Maintenance reserve, $300 per month. Total monthly housing cost, $2,790. This is the number most people don't like to look at. Not the mortgage, the full cost. Daniel and Priya's combined gross income is about $12,100 per month. After federal, state, payroll taxes and benefits, they take home roughly $8,200 per month. Now look at that housing cost again. $2,790 divided by $8,200. That's about 34% of take-home pay. Not gross, take-home. This is where the story splits. Why they can afford it. Daniel and Priya don't have car loans. They drive older vehicles fully paid off. They don't carry credit card debt. They paid it down years ago. They don't live paycheck to paycheck. They've been saving $2,000 per month consistently for 5 years. They already have 6 months of emergency savings, retirement contributions automated, stable jobs with low layoff risk. So when they buy this house, something important happens. Their lifestyle does not collapse. They still save. They still invest. They still have margin. That's real affordability. Let's meet Chris. Chris is 32, single, lives in the same city. Chris earns $110,000 a year. On paper, he qualifies for a $400,000 home. The bank says yes. But the math tells a different story. Chris puts down 10%, not 20%. That's $40,000. His mortgage is $360,000. Monthly principal and interest, about $2,185. Taxes, insurance, maintenance, $850. Total housing cost, $3,035 per month. Chris takes home about $6,300 per month. Housing alone eats nearly 48% of his take-home pay. And that's before student loan payments, car payment, health costs, travel, emergencies. Chris can buy the house, but he can't afford the house. So who can actually afford a $400,000 house in 2026? Here are the quiet rules most people ignore. Lesson 1. Income alone is not the gate. It's about free cash flow. Two households earning the same income can have wildly different outcomes. Low fixed expenses create room. High fixed expenses destroy it. Lesson 2. The down payment is a filter. A 20% down payment does two things. It lowers the mortgage, and it filters buyers by discipline. If someone saved $80,000 slowly and consistently, they likely have the habits needed to survive ownership. If someone scraped together 3 to 5%, the house payment is only the beginning of the stress. Lesson 3. Stability beats growth. In 2026, the people buying comfortably are not betting on promotions. They already have predictable income, stable industries, low volatility careers. They assume nothing improves after purchase. That's why they're safe. Lesson 4. Affordability is a feeling after the purchase. True affordability shows up 6 months later, when the water heater breaks, when property taxes adjust, when life does what life always does. If the house forces you to pause retirement savings, or rely on credit cards, or feel constant pressure, it was never affordable. A $400,000 house in 2026 isn't for the rich. It's for a very specific type of household. Not the flashiest, not the most confident, not the loudest online. It's for people with margin, with patience, with boring financial habits. The real divide in housing isn't price. It's who buys with space and who buys with stress. And once you see that difference, the market suddenly makes a lot more sense.